Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. I've been pretty up and down since I last made a video. I think in my last couple of videos I was talking about marijuana and doubting my diagnosis, and those are still pretty pertinent issues in my life right now. For one, I've been smoking marijuana regularly with my boyfriend and I can't really seem to stop. I don't know why I'm so dependent on it, but I think it has a lot to do with the fact that it helps me not have to worry or think about myself or my future or my issues for a while. It's also just something that me and my boyfriend like to do together, for better or for worse. With regard to doubting my diagnosis, I guess I really shouldn't at this point because I had another manic episode not too long ago. I was getting pretty ramped up energy wise and stress wise because of the stress of midterms at school, and my dad was about to have open heart surgery, and I was struggling to pay my medical bills, and I got fired from my job all at once, and I was just on a bad path. Then, to make matters worse, a big snowstorm hit, and I got stranded at my boyfriend's house for 4 days without my antipsychotics. I think I think that's what really pushed me over into mania. I stopped sleeping completely for those 4 days and only slept for about 4 hours total for the next week. I spent most of my time frantically studying 12 hours a day for school. I was really productive at first. I made a to-do list and knocked out most of what was on it in a single day, including paying my bills, cleaning the house, applying for health insurance, calling my psychiatrist, and preparing for my midterms. I then proceeded to ace my midterms, which was good. I got 104% on one of them because there were some bonus questions. But then my mind started racing too fast, and I started to really hate nighttime and being alone. And depression and suicidal thoughts started creeping in a little bit, so I went to my boyfriend for support. He was a huge help in keeping me afloat. Although we did smoke a lot of weed while I was with him, and it did make me go psychotic for a bit, which probably wasn't good. But it was a fun kind of psychosis, and it didn't last very long, thankfully. I just sort of entered another dimension for two or two for what felt like a good half hour, even though it was probably only a half a minute. I guess I just collapsed onto my boyfriend when this happened, and I was wide-eyed and grinning the whole time. I don't remember what my physical body was doing because, as is often the case when I'm psychotic, I either lose my memory of the actual events or I can't actually see the outside world. In any case, that was a couple weeks ago now, and I've kind of evened out a little bit. I'm back on all my meds now, and I feel like I'm starting to veer towards depression a bit, as my psychiatrist predicted, which sucks, but I'm not that far gone yet. I can still function. I've been skipping more class than I should know, though, which I know is really bad. My psychiatrist wants to eventually switch me off of the meds I'm currently on because he thinks they aren't working, which are Saffris, Effexor, Klonopin, Topamax, and Buspar. And he just started me on lithium and propanolol. The propanolol is for anxiety instead of the Klonopin, which I'm taking now. He said the lithium is a real game changer for a lot of his patients, but I'm a little worried about it because of all the bad things I've heard about brain fog and toxicity and weight gain and all the blood tests you have to get and all that. But at this point, especially because I've gained over 70 pounds on atypical antipsychotics in the past year, I think I'm ready for a change. If it doesn't work, it's back to the drawing board, but I think I'm willing to at least try it. So far, I haven't noticed any real changes, but I've only been on the lithium for a day, and at a really low dose, so that's to be expected. In other news, me and my boyfriend are still doing well. I also got fired from my job as a caregiver at the group home for developmentally disabled adults. I don't know why I got fired, but my best guess is that my boss hated me and didn't want to see me there anymore. I didn't actually do anything wrong, and I was a much harder worker than my boss was, but my boss was being abusive toward me and taking advantage of me and treating me like her own personal housekeeper, and I wasn't being paid a housekeeper's wage, so it's probably best that I got out of there. Now I'm looking for another part-time job. I just applied for a job as a library assistant, which is close to home and sounds ideal. I worked at a library all throughout the 4 years of my undergrad degree, so I have experience and I know I'd like the work, so I have my fingers crossed. In other news, my dad just had open heart surgery to repair a leaky valve. It went well and he's recovering well. I went to visit him back home and he was up and about like his usual self. He just can't drive or lift heavy things right now. I'm also currently really obsessed with British comedy, especially Jimmy Carr. I've watched all of his DVDs and TV shows and I'm reading his book, one of his books, and he's even inspired me to start writing jokes with the vague hope of building up the bravery to try an open mic with my boyfriend someday or maybe this summer. I have 8 jokes written already. They're not performance ready, so I'm not going to share them with you, and they're a little crude, but it's a start. I think my stage persona is going to be of an awkward, slightly deranged, clinically insane person, which kind of fits. I also want to work on one-liners. Right now, most of my jokes are kind of anecdotes, so I want to shrink them down a bit. And if I do chicken out and don't do an open mic, I think I'll write a joke book and call it Psychosis and Cat Shit, because those are my 2 main joke topics so far. Okay, I think that's enough for now for an update. So I haven't made a video in such a long time, but I am still alive and I plan to be for quite some time. And I hope to hear from you all soon. Alright, bye.